All right. Yes, we are live. And just give me a second, everyone, as I stream this puppy. I got to do some simultaneous work here. And there we go. Dun, dun, dun. All right. There we go. And we are ready to rock and roll. Bam. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our very first of an ongoing series. This is entitled Heroes on Vitality. This is where I get to sit down with some awesome people on the other side of me that are epic humans that are here to share their stories of health, wellness, spirituality, their roads to understanding their own truth, to living in that truth, and then shining that light out into their respective communities. My name is James Gardiner with The Hero Within. And this week, I am pleased to have with me our very first guest, chosen wisely and chosen with love. Please joining me today is Lucy Stainsby. Lucy, how are you?
Great, thanks. Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Awesome to be here. Looking forward to diving in. Lucy is a meaning maker, ladies and gentlemen, which we're going to get into. I love that title. She's an artist at heart, an artist in many things, and she does intuitive tattoo as well. We're going to get into that. So Lucy, without further ado, why don't you share with our community a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to obviously dive in and really get into sharing your story with our community.
Yeah. Again, thanks for having me. I am an artist and a healer, and I have created a special kind of tattooing that I call intuitive tattooing, where I incorporate tarot reading, energy work, and really try and create a meaningful and empowering experience for my clients.
Mm-hmm. So energy work, obviously you are an energy worker. I as well am an energy worker in the work that I do, just different modalities, different ways of expressing that, and then being of service. That road for you, so your light, if you will, we talk light, or your frequency, your energy, that came out of your journey over the past X number of years, understanding, really coming to terms with a lot of things, and stepping into your role and love for art and using art as healing, which I think is so profound. Can you start to have a conversation with me a little bit about where did that impetus come from? What was that spark in you back then that put you on this journey?
Yeah, I mean, my whole life I've been a very creative person, but I think really when it comes to like dealing with my health, and I've dealt with a lot of illness, a lot of injury, a lot of trauma in my life, and art has always been a source of medicine for me personally. And my intent also with creating art is to inspire others. So using my art to be of service is really important to me. And that started when I was a really young person, and sort of developed throughout my life. And I've sort of been able to build a career around it, which has been an incredible journey. Yeah.
It's very blessed when we can step into something as an act of service and have it be completely in line with who we are and what gets us out of bed every day. I know it's cliche to say love what you do, and if you truly love what you do, it's not work. And yet, as much as we hear that, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so your journey, though, like my journey, like many people's journeys, has a story, and a story starts at the beginning. A journey's never a straight line. There's zigs, there's zags, there's speed bumps, there's unforeseen potholes that get in our way. What was it for you growing up?
Oh, I mean, probably the biggest catalyst for me was, losing my father in my early 20s. I mean, I was a very anxious young person. I had a lot of pain throughout my teens. But it was really sort of going through the process of losing him, of dealing with grief, of really seeing his life as a guidebook of how to live or how not to live. And I really wanted to learn the lessons that he maybe failed to learn in his life. But yeah, that was a huge catalyst for me. He was a very creative person, but he also suffered a lot in his life. He suffered from a lot of depression. He had a lot of childhood trauma that he never really dealt with. And so seeing how that manifested as anger and resentment, and he had a lot of physical pain as well. And he, it led to self-esteem issues. He never really went after his dreams. And it felt like at the end he had a lot of regrets. And I learned a lot from that experience. I don't want to have regrets on my deathbed,
No.
So right. It really, there's nothing quite like facing death to make you realize how precious your time is. And also how purposeful I really wanted my life to be. And that purpose comes from being of service. And I knew that if I was going to heal others and I was going to serve that purpose, that I first needed to heal myself.
Did you notice that you were walking down a kind of a parallel path with your father at that time? I mean,
Definitely.
Because I know you were in the picture. Sometimes when we're in the picture, it's hard to see the whole portrait, right?
We had a lot of parallels.
Yeah.
We both had anxiety and depression. We both had a lot of, childhood trauma. Like, he didn't deal with his, and so he passed it on, as we do when we fail to heal ourselves. And I saw my life going in a similar direction. We had a lot of the same issues, a lot of the same sort of mental processes. And that really, it was a wake-up call in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, did you start to see we'll label it as trauma. I know that word gets thrown around a lot, especially in self-growth work. However, it's prevalent. Did you notice that the trauma that you were kind of going and living started to manifest itself in your health?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So because I know part of what we want to discuss today and part of your journey is there's a spiritual energetic path, and then there's also a pain and kind of self-healing journey that has taken place.
They're very interrelated in my experience. Yeah. I had a lot of body pain. My immune system was absolute shite. I had a lot of inflammation. My gut health was not good. I had chronic fatigue. I had chronic pain. I had rashes and just, you name it. I was a mess. I was a hot mess. Yeah.
Hot mess. Now, was that even at a younger age, or did it start to kind of snowball as you started to really kind of grow into your young adult phase?
Yeah. I mean, I can remember having pain issues like in my early teens even. But it definitely, everything compounds, I think, if we don't deal with it. And so it was a gradual build. And then after my dad died, and I was like, okay, I have to go after my dreams. That was my first thing. So I started seeking out, a tattoo apprenticeship. I started painting every day. And when I finally got it and I started working my ass off for it, probably about halfway through my apprenticeship, I had like a major health crisis. Like, my body really was shutting down. And that's when I really decided that I had to put, instead of having my career and like my dream job at the top of my priority list, I had to reevaluate, and I had to put my health up there. I had to put my physical body and my mental health first.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. That's a really good point though, Lucy. You know, I love dreams, and I'm all about inspiring everyone to take action on their dream. And yet it does always surface that if we're not completely taking care of ourselves and really building that strong foundation within us, health, wellness, mindset, self-love, healing, all of that, that inevitably there's always some cracks in the foundation that happen and manifest themselves when we're out chasing that dream, or you know, in the trenches working like dogs to build this and not have regrets in our deathbed.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to nail that home for our viewers out there, that it's, and I'm sure you will agree that that step back and that look inward always happens. It's part of how you still to this day, and I don't want to be putting words in your mouth, it's how I at least definitely show up. I'm still chasing that dream, and I'm still building that designing it, but there's always the work reflecting back in. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like, health is, and healing is a practice that I have to be involved with every day. Like, I'm still a work in progress. You know, my relationship with healing is ongoing. You know, even though I've made incredible progress, especially in this last year, I think it's a practice. It's a daily practice.
It is.
And as
It's
cliche as it sounds, you
non-negotiable for
can't
you.
pour from an empty cup.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. You know, I like that. So healing is an everyday practice. Healing is an everyday practice. There's a bumper sticker for you. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy Stainsby bumper sticker coming at you. Sell them out of the tattoo studio. I get 10%. All right. Let's talk pain though. Let's talk the journey. Obviously, a big part of what I do and the work I do in my brand, The Hero Within, and showing up is leading a health and wellness mindset approach to life. The work that I do with Vitality Wellness World, of course, this is a company built around that principle. So tell us a little bit about, you know, you set it up, you had your catalyst, you know, you had the, hey, I don't want to have regrets on my deathbed. I don't want to be like my dad. And art is my thing. Art's my flag that I'm going to wave. And then the universe says, great, now go work on yourself. So take us through a little bit of that chapter of your life.
Yeah. Well, it started with this health crisis during my apprenticeship year. And my boss at the time had just discovered Ariel and her practice with Vitality. And he said, you have to go see this woman. She's going to help you figure out what's wrong. And so I went and I started seeing her. So I started learning about nutrition. That was a big piece of it. Not only all the things that I was eating that was not good for me, but all the things that I wasn't eating that I needed to be eating. Yeah. You know, I wasn't fueling my body properly. Another thing that came up, because she has the Zyto scan, which basically scans your whole body, all the systems in it. We discovered that my body was like constantly going in and out of fight or flight. So I had, you know, major anxiety issues, which meant that I was never really healing or absorbing the food that I was eating because I was in this like heightened stress state, which is very typical of this like complex PTSD thing from like all of the trauma leading up in my childhood and through my early adult years. And so that was a big key, was I have to deal with the underlying trauma. And another thing that came up was that my body was showing big signs of grief, you know, especially having just lost my dad. And so that led to a lot of lifestyle changes. It really showed me that I had a lot of work to do in the emotional realm. You know, I couldn't just deal with the physical symptoms, that they were symptoms of a larger systemic issue. And And the other thing that came up was that it showed that my C1 and C2 were out. So I had alignment issues as well that was affecting my nerves. And so that was, I probably saw her for about a year, sort of on and off. I made a lot of changes in my lifestyle, a lot of changes in my diet. I learned a lot about anatomy and physiology and nutrition and all of these things. And so that really started my education.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to find somebody who could work with me on the emotional side of things, because that was going to be a huge key.
Yeah.
And so about a year ago, I found the women at Lineage Healing, and they've been working with me for the last year or so. We started with the body work, fixing the alignment issues. So they do advanced applied kinesiology, which is somewhere between sort of physiotherapy and chiropractic. It deals with the bones, but also the ligaments and the soft tissues. And then again, I heal up to a certain point, and then my body starts sort of relapsing on those injuries. And that's when they said, okay, it's time to go deeper. It's time to deal with the emotional stuff. And so that's when I started learning German New Medicine, which has been absolutely fantastic and like world changing, because it's the study of how our emotional, psychological, and physical traumas that we go through in our life impact us on a physical level. And so how that manifests as illness and disease and injury over time. So doing the GNM trauma coaching was part of it. And then I'm also continuing with the body work. It's sort of working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love, I used to bring this analogy in my athletic world into the clients that I work with now. And I love that you've gone all in and that you're researching. I mean, we all of us out there, we're looking for ways to live more vital. We're looking for ways to have energy, to heal, to feel better, to be emotionally stable. There's all these things that we're out there looking for. And the help, to label it as help, the help is out there. We have to do the work. We have to look and realize that not every one thing is going to be applicable to each of us. And for you, you put your little mad scientist hat on and you went out there and you said, okay, well, I'm going to investigate this. And you took some tests with Ariel over at Vitality, and you uncovered some internal things with diet, nutrition, some skeletal things. And then you went into German New Medicine and you worked on the physicality and the emotional anchors of that physicality, cause and effect, and a spiritual practice that we're going to get into in a moment too. And so you basically have created your own remedy, if you will, through different modalities. And I think it's important that people take away and are inspired by what and how you've approached it. And that doesn't mean like, you're not walking around pain free. We're going to talk about that. It's not like it's completely eradicated, right? But we're all looking for lifestyle changes so that we are in the captain's chair of our own lives. And we're not held victim to asthma like I was, or pain and inflammation on a daily basis and things like that. So I think that's great. And you would argue that it needs to be well-rounded from what I'm getting from you, is
all
that
about
it
the
is
holistic approach.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I don't think that's one thing that always was very disheartening to me about the traditional Western medicine approach to things is it's so segmented. There's a specialist for each organ, but there's very few people who will look at the whole body and the whole system. And not only just the body, but the emotional and the psychological side of things and how that interrelates to everything physical. We are one being, we're not, the mind is not separate from the body.
That's
and
right.
I think that's something that we need to shift, I think, in our approach to healing.
And you touched on it, because I've done the Zytoscan as well. Grief lives in our bodies.
Yeah.
Grief latches on to certain organs and lives within. It's just like anything else. It needs to be worked on. It can't be just swept under the rug.
Yeah. And the only way to get over it is to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
I think our culture, in a lot of ways, especially in the West, is just, there's not a lot of healthy ways to grieve.
Yeah.
And I think that's like where the spirituality comes in for me, is like developing a loving relationship with my grief. That, grief is such an integral part of being human, like we're all going to die someday. And creating a space where we can not be afraid of that and where we can like approach it with love, I think is just, that's what we need. I think that's the remedy.
That really landed with me big time. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people think of grief as something that they have to get over, and they want to move past it. And like, for me, it's like losing my dad will always be a tragic part of my story. And it's very much an integral part of who I am. And I don't necessarily want to get over it, but I want to have a relationship with it that doesn't hurt me.
Yeah. That, acceptance, right? How do we live with it? Have it be along with us on the journey, right? We're all in our own vehicle driving somewhere on this road of life, and the more people in the car, the better, or the more things in the car that aid to the richness of who we are, the better. That's the way I look at it. Grief, you're right. Grief is not something that we discard on the side of the road and kick out because we don't want them along for the ride anymore.
Yeah.
So that's great. So here we are. You've gone through, you are going through continual, you're on your journey.
Yeah.
So let's come into the world of Lucy Stainsby now, the artist, the sought after and fully booked, mind you, intuitive tattooist out there. I want to get into that because obviously I have some ink as well, and I just love this concept of what you're doing because you've taken your journey, Luce, and you've turned it into an experience to be of service for the people that come into your world. So share some light on that.
Yeah. Well, through the process of confronting my own trauma and stuff, is I realized that a lot of the things that was holding me back was like my own self-esteem issues. And once I was starting to overcome them and think, all these big dreams that I have, why aren't I going after them? Why aren't I creating this space that is more meaningful for people? And, I really wanted, I think tattoo is such an incredible, magical, transformative thing. And especially when you put intention into it, like you're literally changing your physical appearance. So you're transforming yourself. And if you can attach that to a really powerful emotional intention, then it makes it that much more significant. So I really wanted to create a process where I could be involved in the meaning making process with my clients. And I wanted to involve this sort of spiritual aspect with, using tarot as an esoteric art for self-reflection. It's been a really amazing tool for me in my life, and, bringing the Reiki into it. I'm already working with people's energy and their bodies. So that just works really synergistically also. So I've developed this intuitive process where people come to see me and we sit down and we do a great big tarot reading spread. We get into the nitty gritty of what they're dealing with in their lives. And I build a symbolic design
Mm.
around an intention that makes sense for them. And then we tattoo it.
And we tattoo it.
Yeah.
So the tarot then is basic. Walk me through. So here comes James. Knock, knock, knock. We have an appointment. I got in.
Yeah.
He pulled some strings, got me in. I walk in. Take me through.
I do a 10-card Celtic cross spread, which is like a full setup. 10 cards, each position has a significance to it. Each card is full of symbolism. And I basically go through and I explain what the card means, what the position means, and what I think that's telling you. And it can be quite impactful for people because it really gets into the nitty-gritty of life and life's challenges and how to move through the different energies that come up. Tarot is like, it's a symbol system that uses like different archetypes of the hero's journey. And as an esoteric art, it really reads people's energies. It's something that I've used throughout my life to get through all kinds of different situations. And it's really just like a tool for self-reflection. It really prompts you to ask some tough questions and shift perspectives. And so we do the reading, we get into it. We talk about, what is significant for them, what resonates for them. And then from there, I'll pick out different symbols, different themes that came up, and we'll choose symbols for those. So say, for example, a lot of earth energy comes up, which is about, grounding and abundance and getting into your physical body, your relationship with your body. So I would choose something that is of the earth to symbolize that. So I do a lot of flowers. I love flowers as symbols. And, flowers can have different symbolic meanings to them as well. So like roses for abundance, or, chrysanthemums for like rebirth. There's all these different meanings that can be read into it.
Yeah.
And I'll combine all these symbols into something that's, aesthetically compelling. And once we're both happy with it, we've set the intention, then we'll move into the tattoo space and put it on the skin.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
On the skin.
Yeah.
For it to live. I love that. And speaking of space, you've been in a little transition yourself. Kind of exciting. Why don't you just share with us that? Because it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I've just moved from working in a busy downtown studio, and I have set up the front room of my house as my own personal tattoo studio. So I've got a private space now where I can sort of curate the whole experience. We've got, my essential oils, so it smells nice. I've got an air purifier. I've got, all my crystals everywhere. So I can really it's really an experience. I really want to be able to curate this experience to inspire people, to empower them, and hopefully create a space for healing.
Yeah, not hopefully.
I am creating a space for healing. Yes.
You are. That's amazing. And obviously, I'll put this. It's actually in the notes with this recording. The website, people can go and find out more about you. Obviously, you're on social, you're on IG, you're on Facebook as well. So Lucy is out there for anyone that's interested. Before we kind of wrap up, Lucy, I would like to ask you, just have a couple of kind of questions, put you on the hot spot a little bit.
Sure.
A little bit of hot seat questions, and for just to kind of get some insights into you. What do you see the world, specifically your community, your friends, your family, saying about you when you are 70 years old?
Oh, that's a good one. I hope they say that she lived a life full of love, that she touched a lot of lives and left them better than how she found them.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually so beautiful. I don't want to follow up with another question. That was really good. I mean, that was that's
Go on, go for it.
a beautiful mic drop to end with. Yeah, no, that was beautiful. I mean, at the end of the day, Luce, it's all about love, right? It's a journey. You talked about the hero's journey, and I think we are all on this never-ending journey to fully understand and fully love ourselves first and foremost, and then applying that into an act of service to share that light outwards. And you've chosen a very interesting medium, no different than someone else who chooses to do it through space engineering or whatever it is.
Sure.
It's your way of expressing yourself. I think that's important. I really truly believe that we are all artists within.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. I believe that the artist's way is a way of love and is a way of passion. And that artistic brush can be applied anywhere, in our lives, in our careers, in anything. And that's how I like to look at each day when I wake up as an artist with the work that I do. And I don't paint, I don't draw, I don't have any skill like that per se, but I still consider myself an artist, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, creativity has so many modalities, and, everything can be art. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
The way you cook, the way you love another person, the way you lead your life, everything is art if you can find the beauty in it.
Yeah. Find the beauty. It's there. There's beauty in everything, right? So even looking back with the grief and the pain of a girl trying to understand her dad's own journey, and I look back at my journey, it's same, and there's beauty in that. There's beauty in that understanding, and then what we're able to do with that, right, for others. So
yeah.
So Lucy, I want to thank you for sharing your energy, sharing your time today with me to be our first guest here on Heroes on Vitality. Last word is always going to be yours and our guests. What would you like to say for anyone out there that is on their own journey, whatever journey that may be? What's something from your heart to resonate with theirs and be a spark of inspiration for them?
That's a good question. Follow your heart, follow your truth. I think that we are all our own best healers. You can seek out information and guidance from others, but at the end of the day, you are your own best healer. And trust that, and just keep on trucking.
Love that. At the end of the day, you are your own best healer. Beautiful. All right, Lucy, thank you so much
for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in wherever this finds you. Look forward to having more of these conversations as we continue. All right, everyone. Mad love to the courageous. Thanks, Luce.
Thank you.